Chris Johnson was a speed deal, from running the fastest 40 time ever by a running back to becoming one of just 9 players in history to rush for over 2,000 yards in a single season. CJ2K was unlike anything the league had ever seen. But was it just his speed that made him great? Or was there more to his game? Something deeper that turned him into one of the most electrifying running backs the league had ever witnessed. The need for speed started early, back when Johnson was just a kid attending Olympia High School in Orlando. As a freshman, he wasn't yet the freak of nature we'd come to know. Undersized, skinny, far from intimidating. But the moment he got the ball in his hands, defenders might as well have been chasing shadows. And his speed? Oh, it wasn't just limited to the football field. Johnson was also a track star. In the 100-meter dash, he clocked an unreal 10.38 seconds, a time competitive even at the college level. Still, as much as he excelled in track, his heart belonged to football. By his senior year, he'd racked up over 1,000 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. Yet despite all that production and all that speed, scouts weren't convinced. At just under 5'11" and 200 pounds, Johnson was labeled too small and earned only a 2-star rating from Rivals.com. So the big-time programs passed. Even the mid-level schools hesitated. But East Carolina University, they saw something special and took a chance on CJ. As a freshman in 2004, Johnson didn't get many chances at running back, but even then, his blazing speed made an impact on special teams. By his sophomore and junior seasons, that role slowly started to expand. You could feel it building. Something big was coming. And then, his senior year, everything changed. After working tirelessly to add muscle and sharpen his versatility, Johnson became the focal point of ECU's offense. He exploded for 1,423 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns, averaging nearly 7 yards a carry. His vision, his burst, his breakaway speed, it made him one of the most dangerous runners in all of college football. But Johnson wasn't just a runner. He was a do-it-all weapon. Catching passes out of the backfield, deadly. He finished with 528 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns through the air. And as a return specialist, an absolute nightmare, racking up 1,009 return yards and another touchdown. By the end of that season, his combined rushing, receiving, and return numbers totaled a jaw-dropping 2,960 all-purpose yards. It wasn't just dominance, it redefined what a college running back could do. His versatility and big play ability made it impossible for NFL scouts to ignore. But there were still questions. Was he just a college standout? Could he really produce against tougher competition? Teams were intrigued, but not yet sold. Until the 40-yard dash. Johnson blazed through the run in 4.24 seconds, setting a new record for the fastest 40 in combine history at the time. And he didn't stop there. A 35-inch vertical, a 10'10" broad jump, pure explosiveness. In fact, Johnson ranked first among all running backs in athleticism, earning the highest overall score in the 2008 Combine, an incredible 91. To celebrate, he even got a diamond-encrusted stopwatch with his 40 time. Suddenly, NFL teams weren't just looking at a fast, skilled college player. They were seeing a potential game-changer. As the draft approached, Johnson's stock skyrocketed from mid-round hopeful to one of the hottest names in the class. He had the potential to be elite. But potential can be a dangerous word. Then, with the 24th overall pick in the 2008 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans selected Chris Johnson.
The Titans already had Lendale White, a bruiser, fresh off an 1,100-yard season. But Johnson was expected to be just a change of pace. But it didn't take long to see he was different. In his debut, he rushed for 93 yards, added 34 more through the air, and scored. His speed? Unreal. Defenders could only watch him fly by. Week after week, he lit up highlight reels. 168 yards and a TD versus the Chiefs, 125 and 2 scores versus the Lions, 136 and a TD versus the Browns. By season's end, he'd taken over the Titans' offense. 1,228 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, and 4.9 yards per carry. He led all rookie backs with 1,488 scrimmage yards as Tennessee went 13-3. But in the playoffs, an ankle injury cut his run short, and the Titans fell to the Ravens. Even so, everyone knew Johnson was the guy. In a league of power backs, his lightning speed was changing the game. Off the field, he was just as bold. Gold teeth, pink BMW, pure swagger. After that rookie season, he said he'd rush for 2,000 yards, even promised his linemen cars if he did. Everyone laughed, until he actually did it. 2009 started rough. 6 straight losses, a 59-0 beatdown by Brady. But in Week 8, everything changed. Against the Jaguars, he exploded for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns, sparking a historic run. He finished the year with 11 straight 100-yard games and became only the 6th player ever to top 2,000 yards, 2006 to be exact, averaging 5.6 yards a carry. At 503 receiving yards, and he set the NFL record with 2,509 yards from scrimmage. CJ2K was born. Offensive Player of the Year, All-Pro, Pro Bowler, and the most electric back in football at just 24. And about those cars? He was still on his rookie deal, so he bought his linemen remote-controlled ones instead.
After rewriting history in 2009, Chris Johnson entered 2010 with sky-high expectations. He came out firing, 142 yards and 2 touchdowns in the opener. But defenses had learned. They stacked the box, daring Tennessee to throw. The offensive line struggled, yet CJ still powered through for 1,364 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns. In 2011, he signed a 4-year, $53.5 million extension, cementing his status as one of the league's elite backs. But despite his effort, the Titans couldn't find consistency. The following year started slow, just 45 yards in 3 games. But CJ bounced back in style, torching the Texans for 141 and the Bills for 195 yards with 2 scores. Later that season, he broke off a stunning 94-yard touchdown, proving his home run speed hadn't vanished. He finished 2012 with 1,243 rushing yards, his 5th straight 1,000-yard season. By 2013, the whispers grew louder. Was CJ2K losing a step? Few knew he played the entire season on a torn meniscus. Still, he topped 1,000 yards again for the 6th straight year. But business is business. After the season, the Titans released him, ending an unforgettable era. In 2014, Johnson joined the Jets, showing flashes of his old brilliance but never fully recapturing his dominance. Then tragedy struck. A drive-by shooting in Orlando left him wounded and his friend dead. Miraculously, CJ survived. The Arizona Cardinals took a chance, and Johnson rewarded them with a brief resurgence: 110 yards and 2 touchdowns versus the 49ers, 122 versus the Ravens, proving he still had juice left. But injuries piled up, a fractured tibia, then groin and wrist issues. By 2017, the legendary burst was gone. Chris Johnson, the man who once outran the league, finally slowed down, leaving behind speed, swagger, and one of the most unforgettable legacies in NFL history.
And that is the story of Chris Johnson, a kid they called too small, too skinny, too unlikely, who became the fastest running back the NFL had ever seen. From high school underdog to college game breaker to a 2,000-yard NFL legend, CJ2K didn't just run fast, he changed the game. The burst faded, the injuries came, but legacy? That never slows down. Chris Johnson became the blueprint for every kid chasing a dream. Proof that being different can be your greatest strength. Whether you remember the gold grills, the pink BMW, the 4.24 speed, or that historic 2009 season, one thing's certain. There was fast, and then there was Chris Johnson. If you enjoyed this story, like the video, subscribe, and comment who we should cover next, because this is just the beginning.